my face look flawless. Super flawless. Hey guys, what is up? What's going on? It's your girl Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So I know things look different. I look bald, but I'm getting my hair done today, so I figured that I probably shouldn't put heat and stuff on it because I'm gonna get it styled a little bit later today. So y'all gonna have to make do with my do. I did that. Okay, anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to get a glam back to school makeup look. And I know you guys are probably like, that's not glam, but it's glam to people going to school. I didn't want to do something that was too glam, but I also didn't want to do something that was too natural. So I did something that fell right in between. So if you guys want to see a more natural look or a way more glam look for back to school, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys are new, what is up? What's going on? I'm Ashley, and trust me when I tell you, you're gonna want to press that subscribe button and also turn on your post notifications so that you guys are notified anytime I upload a new video, which is 3 times a week, every single week. With that, I love you, and without further ado, let's get into the look. I don't know why I keep snapping. I need to stop. So first things first, I'm going to prime the skin. It's super important if you want your makeup to last throughout the day. I am gonna double prime today. The very first one I'm gonna use is by e.l.f. This is their hydrating face primer. I definitely recommend a hydrating face primer for those of you guys who are a little bit more dry. I just typically love an overall hydrating primer before I put on my foundation. And even if you're oily, I always recommend like moisturizing the skin before going in with foundation, which I've already done this morning. So I'm just gonna go ahead and work this into the skin. What I love about this e.l.f. primer is that it is extremely silky and smooth on the skin. Like I said, I am going to double prime. I'm going to go in with an additional e.l.f. primer. This is the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer, and I do struggle with some pores. I've actually been struggling with pores as of recently. Like, I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, what is that? I do want to kind of pore minimize. If you guys don't struggle with pores or enlarged pores for that matter, then you can definitely skip this step. And I'm just gonna kind of work her right in this area. Now that my face is nice and primed, I'm now going to move into liner. And I know it's a weird thing to do liner before foundation and powder and eyeshadow and all things like that. But oftentimes whenever I'm in a rush, I will go in with a liner pencil and I'll messily line my waterline like this. And then after everything is completely lined, I'm going to go in with a makeup wipe off the excess. So that way the only thing left over is my tight line. So once you've wiped away the excess of that liner, you should have a tight line that looks a little bit something like this, which honestly makes it a lot easier to go in and do your eyeshadow and things like that. I have very, very sensitive eyes, so sometimes I notice after, you know, blending my eyeshadow for a period of time and then going in and tight lining, my eyes tend to get really, really irritated and very wet and watery in the process. So then it gets a little bit harder for me to put on lashes and things like that. I noticed that when I started doing it first, my eyes weren't as irritated, so that's why I decided to do my liner before moving on to my foundation. Moving right along to foundation, I will be using my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. I am in the shade 220. Like, I don't even feel like I need to go on and on about this foundation because I feel like I rave about it time and time again on my channel. I feel like anytime I do a drugstore video, that's the foundation I gravitate towards. So I'm gonna take it and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it all over the face. I am using a damp Morphe sponge just because I really like the application of a sponge. You don't have to use a Morphe sponge. You can use a sponge by Real Techniques, Eco Tools. You can use an original beauty blender, but I just find that these are very, very affordable. And the reason I go for affordable sponges versus like a beauty blender is because I do replace my sponges every 2 weeks. And I know that's crazy to say, but I do wear a lot of makeup and oftentimes bacteria can get stuck in these sponges. So I do replace them very, very often because you guys know I used to struggle with a lot of acne. So I really try really hard to sanitize all of my makeup tools, and a sponge is just something that I just can't like get completely clean. So I always make sure to rotate it. Okay, so now that my foundation is done, I'm gonna start working on the brows now. Brows are something that I feel is like very particular because the way I do my brows isn't gonna be the same way that you do your brows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do them off camera to save time and then we'll be right back. Okay, so brows are done. It took me a little bit, but I finally got to the end point. I'm now just gonna go ahead and set them in place with the e.l.f. Active Sweat Resistant Brow Gel, and I'm just gonna go ahead and comb this through my brows. Normally I do this after bronzer. Not entirely sure why I decided to do it right now, but I really have to set down these hairs because I do have like rather curly eyebrow hair, so I just gotta set them down, and this one's really good by e.l.f. Moving right along, I'm gonna go in with concealer. I'm gonna use this guy by Makeup Revolution. This is the Conceal and Define Full Coverage concealer, and I am using the shade C6, which is about 2 to 3 shades lighter than my foundation. And the reason I am using a shade that is relatively lighter in color is because I do want to highlight my face, making me look wide awake. So you want to be like, oh. I'm going to take this on my chin, and I'm going to stop right there and buff everything out with my damp Morphe sponge. And whatever concealer I have left on the sponge, I'm just patting it over top of my eyelid to prime. Okay, bitch, we are moving. Okay, moving on, I'm gonna go in with powder. Today I'm throwing it back to the Maybelline Fit Me loose finishing powder. I do have the shade Fair Light just because I do want a little bit more of a brighter under eye area. So I'm going to ensure that my concealer is not creased by looking up and patting it with that Morphe sponge, dip into the powder, and then just set down this area right here. What I like about the Maybelline powder is that it doesn't have flashback or anything like that, and it is fairly affordable. You can pick it up at the drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, Dwayne Reed, whatever you got, you can find it there. I'm also going to take this powder and set down all the areas of my face where I applied that concealer. I'm also taking this powder and I'm really going to set the center of my face. Typically, this is an area of my face that will tend to get oily and greasy throughout the day. So I really want to ensure that it's nice and set and it stays matte. As for the rest of the face, I will be using the LA Girl Pro Face High Definition Matte Press Powder. I am in the shade Nude Beige. I'm going to take it on an e.l.f. brush, which I really like. I feel like I use this on a day-to-day basis. And I'm just going to go ahead and set all the areas of my face that I did not use that loose powder by Maybelline. All right, you guys, so now it's time to work on the eyes, and this is going to be an extremely easy eye look. Honestly, it's not going to have any cut creases or anything like that. It's just going to be really beautiful, blown, blended out shadow all over the lid. The shadow palette I'm going to be using today is from Morphe. This is their 350 palette. So what I'm going to do with this palette is I'm going to go into the third row and take the first shade right here in the palette, which is a soft brown shade, and I'm going to use a Morphe M441, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working this all in my crease right here, and then I'm just gonna kind of blend it inwards like so. And I like to start right here on the outer V of my eye by pressing the shadow, and then once I have the shadow down and in place, I like to just go in big circular motions to really buff and disperse the product. This doesn't have to be neat. It can definitely be messy. It can be diffused. We're definitely going for more of like a messy, warm eye, if that makes sense. So really just focus on getting that shadow right there in the socket and then just blowing it all the way out. And my eye is watering. That fucking sucks. But we're gonna keep it going. We got things to do today, honey. I'm now going to take the last shade in the second row right here, and I'm going to do the same exact thing, except I'm going to bring the shade a little bit more onto the lid. That previous shade, I did keep it a little bit more in the crease. So I'm going to just take it all over and then just buff it into the crease a little bit more. And as you can see, I'm really just applying this color super messily onto the lid in big circular motions. I'm now going to take the fourth shade in the third row, and I'm going to put that on a flat definer brush by Sigma, and I'm just going to add a little bit of definition right here towards the lash line a little bit. Nothing too crazy though. And then with a Morphe M507, I'm going to take that same shade, and I'm just kind of going to bring it up in my outer corner a little bit, but not like too much or nothing like too crazy. So I'm just running it alongside this line right here to kind of diffuse it, and then I'm also going to take it in my outer V a little bit. And this is just going to give the eye a little bit of dimension because it was looking a little bit flat. But if you don't want to do this step, if you don't want to go too dark, you definitely don't have to. Now I'm just taking a Morphe M514, and I'm just taking it on the very outer portion of the eye, and I'm going in big circular motions right here. Just add a little bit of drama, but nothing like too crazy. Now that the eyes are nice and warmed up, I'm gonna go in with the second shade in the top row, and I'm gonna use this shade to highlight my brow bone because she needs a little love. She's looking a little dry, so I'm going to just pop her right here. And this essentially helps with the blending, so if you feel like your blend isn't like A1, just go in with a brow bone highlight and it will just make everything blend a lot better. Trust me. Babito's alarm has been going off for like over an hour and I'm about to slam his phone. Get up! Okay, maybe I'm not. I'm being dramatic. Going right back into this shade right here on a flat definer brush by Sigma, I'm going to just pop this on my lower lash line and really just buff and smoke her out. Then with the Morphe M507, I'm just gonna run it alongside the edge to give it more of a softer look. Using a little bit of that Maybelline loose powder, I'm just gonna kind of dust it right here to kind of just clean up this edge a little bit, and I'm gonna let it bake here for maybe about, I don't know, 30 seconds while I work on the rest of the face. While I let that sit there, I am going to do other things so that way I can kind of multitask and it's not taking up any extra time. So I'm going to go in with the Maybelline The Falsies mascara. Y'all, I have fallen in love with this again. Like, I stopped using it for a really long time, and then when I got it in PR recently, I was like, wow, like, this mascara is great. So I'm just going to go ahead and coat my lashes so that way they're nice and full and pretty and beautiful and all that other good stuff. So these are my lashes with mascara on it. I definitely don't hate it, but since I am going to be running errands today, I do want a little bit more of like a flared out look. So I'm going to go in with some individual lashes. These are the Cluster Lashes by Ardell. Again, if you're in school, you want to look glam, you definitely don't have to apply falsies. Just stick with your natural lashes and girl, you are good to go. But if you got the time, you could definitely do this as well. The best and fastest way I know how to do this is I'll take a little bit of adhesive glue, I'll put it onto a flat surface, and then I'll take some tweezers and I'll start plucking off my clusters from the plastic, and I will take the cluster and I'll dip it into the glue as it gets tacky, and then I'll just start popping them on my eye. This literally takes me about like a minute to 2 minutes to do, not long at all. Cool, so I went ahead and just popped about like 4 individual lashes towards the very outer corner of this eye, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing to the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and sweep away this powder right here, and we're gonna move on to bronzing and contouring. I did use this in my Dogs Pick My Makeup video, and honestly, I really did like it. This is from MAC Studio. I did get it from TJ Maxx. It is just a contouring palette right here. It definitely reminds me of like the Smashbox contouring palette that looks very similar to this. So I'm gonna take the very center shade and I'm going to just bronze up the skin a little bit to kind of bring back some color. Then I'm just gonna take a big fluffy brush and just buff and further blend out the bronzer. For actual blush, I'm gonna be using Milani Luminoso, and this is such a throwback blush for me. It's a really beautiful peachy shade, and I'm gonna pop this onto my cheeks. For highlighter, I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Gold Bar. Whoo, this is so beautiful, and I'm just gonna take it on this Luxie brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight very subtle, nothing too intense, which is why I am using a larger brush for this step. So hey, just go ahead and dust her on. You want to look like you're glowing, but you don't want like a streak of highlight, which is why I'm going in just like this. The gloss I'm going to be using in today's video is the Vivid Hot Lacquer by Maybelline in the shade Unreal. You guys know I had to end it off with a gloss. Like, who would I even be? I love this one because it's a really beautiful nude and it's super duper pigmented and opaque. And lastly, to finish everything off, I'm going to go in with the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. This is going to prime, correct, and set. So, whoo! And what this is really going to do, it's really going to melt down the powders, giving you a more natural skin-like effect. And just like that, you guys, this is the final and completed look. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments down below. Honestly, if I had to go back to high school, I would probably do my face and knot my hair to save a little bit of time. So you can always put it in a low pony like this. You can toss it up in a bun, whatever it is that gets you out the door quicker. It allows you to spend a little bit more time on your makeup. If you guys like this look, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know what other back to school makeup looks you guys want to see. I know this one was a little bit more like glam, but not like super glam. So if you guys want to see something super duper simple that you can literally do in 5 minutes or less, let me know in the comments down below. And with that, I don't have much else to say, except if you guys are not subscribed to my channel, press that subscribe button. And also don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that way you guys are notified anytime I upload a new video, which is every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. And you guys don't want to miss out on that. I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces. So we made it to the very end of the video. What'd you think? Did you like the back to school look? If you like this back to school look, then be sure to press the subscribe button on my shoulder and check out my other 2 back to school makeup looks chilling right here next to me. Keep the marathon going. Let's get it. Let's get inspired. Let's do all that. I have to run. I'll see you again on Thursday.